probably need to be adding to your portfolio. Of course, non-financial advice, but it's always nice to hear a guy who is very young and makes a lot of money. Anything they're doing, you probably should be at least paying attention to. So make sure you do not go anywhere. Go ahead and smash that like button and hit that subscribe button as well. If you love crypto and you love making money and you love morning shows and you love us, yeah, if you love us and you haven't even met us yet, just choose love and subscribe to the channel. I'm joined by my two fantastic co-hosts this morning, though, starting off with Mr. T Shroom himself. How are you doing this morning, T Shroom?
Well, Tim, I'm doing better than I deserve. I'll say that. And I am really excited for this show. It's an action-packed, chock full of nuts, chock full of nutrients. So I'll just go ahead and get into the quote today. We got a little bit of a unique quote because we have so much we're trying to pack into this episode. My quote from the day is actually basically a piece of news, but it's a retweet of mine. It said, "Every day that goes by is a blessing. Enjoy every moment with loved ones that you can." This is a retweet of Biology's tweet explaining how he burned $1 million to tell you that they're printing trillions. I strongly encourage you to go watch this video when you get a moment. It is 10 minutes long. So, take a moment and watch this and try to understand exactly what he's getting at. This sheds a lot of light on why he put $1 million bet on Bitcoin to $1 million. And it's very clarifying, and it goes a long way, and you'll see why I tweeted what I did. So that is how I'm doing this morning.
Boom, love it. I love I always love your how you pronounce his name. Say it one more time. What's his name?
Biology Srinivasan.
Biology. Why Biology?
Balaji is the correct pronunciation.
Why not Balaji? Yeah. Anyway, we won't hang tight on there for too long. We're also joined by Mr. Army Piper himself. How are you doing this morning, Piper?
Brother, I'm doing fantastic. And I think when I was in college, I took a course on him, Biology 101, I think. So,
yes. Yeah.
I studied all of his works. So, not sure what it had to do with crypto, though.
Good to know. Well, let's get in here before we're going to have a quicker intro this morning. I'm going to read a couple of names and we're going to do our macro update and we're going to do a very small amount of charts before we bring on Seth here in just a couple of minutes. But let's start off with those names because as you guys know who are regular here, if we don't read names, bad things happen. So we don't do that anymore. Starting off with our first commenter of the day, Mr. Alton Henderson. Way to go, being number one. He was followed right behind by Mr. J. Also, you guys like this? Which side is it? Is it this side? I have to make sure I do this correctly. Yeah, right here. Yeah, right there. You guys see Michael Vick made an appearance in my background today. I changed out the picture. Nice. So let me know in chat if you guys are fans of Michael Vick. He did his time, and he loves dogs now. So don't hate on him in chat. Let's keep reading some more names on, though. Also, he was my childhood hero, so that whole story was very tragic for me. Very tragic. Bobby Smoot is here this morning. Crypto Trades is here. We got a Mellow Fellow here. Elliot Locke, Joe Nickel, CBD Suddy, Eric Wallen, Mike Play, Danny G, Justin Eubanks, Yair Navarro, Curtis Rorick, Gia S. Ooh, Crypto Archie in the house. Come on. Love to see it. Let's see. Who else we got here? We got John Kahn is here. Crux of Crypto with the Blue Wrench is in the chat this morning. Crypto JMP, Brian D, Sir Mugiwara, Sir Mugiwara, maybe. I don't think like I've ever gotten that one correct. Oh Man 13 is here. Grand Rufy Incorporated, Crypto Pew Pew Cruise, Eric Browning, Crypto Trappa, Ninja Glock, Steve Shrum, shout out to Papa Shrum. Let's see, a couple more here, and then we'll TA Hanks 4. I don't know if it's Ta Hanks or it's TA Hanks. I'm gonna go with TA Hanks 4 though. And then we'll get a couple more here. Let's go 3 more. Crimson Caravan Company, Paul Baker, and the last one, the final name that I will read this morning is Marique Franick. Probably pronounced wrong. I am so sorry, but thank you to everybody who is in here this morning. I know there's a couple of you I did not get to read your name. I want you to know it's not because I don't love you. It is just time to go ahead and move on and get into our amazing content. So again, we got almost 80 people watching right now, but only 26 likes. Got to do better than that. Go ahead and smash that like button. Guess what? You can do that right now, this very second, for the free price of free. No cost to you. You just smash that like button, you subscribe to the channel, same exact cost, free. And then you're sitting Gucci for the rest of the day. Go ahead, Piper. What is going on this morning other than the FOMC meeting this afternoon? What should people be paying attention to in the macroeconomics?
So jumping into the macroeconomics here, Tim, unemployment rate for the European area came in at 6.5% this morning, early. 3 o'clock my time, 5 a.m. on the Eastern Standard Time there. It was previously at 6.6%. The consensus and forecast was that it was going to be neutral, came in just a little bit below. So that's pretty good there. The 30-year fixed mortgage rate is 6.5%, people. So if you're looking at houses, just wait. Yeah, let's see here. What else do we have? ISM services PMI coming in today. Nothing really big today beyond FOMC. That's going to be the big one. We're going to have, I want to remind everybody, it says 12 p.m. here. It's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2 p.m. my time. 2 p.m. today, the interest rate drops, or it doesn't drop. The data comes out. It's released. It's probably going up, just so you're tracking. And Tim's going to show that in a minute. However, that's not where the real moves come from, guys. You'll see a lot of volatility leading up right just prior to this. When this number drops, you'll see some really crazy volatility. And then the press conference is really where you really see the moves. And that's what's going to be the definition of what we could expect for the next 24 hours or so. As I've showed you guys previously in the past, when you have this data come out and then the speech, there's about a average 5% top to bottom volatility move, but the real moves come to 48 hours after the speech. So be patient. If you're in trades and you got stop losses, I don't care if it's a long or a short, your stop loss is probably going to be hit because that's how volatile it is. So trade safe and stay primed. That's what I got for you today.
Yeah, let's go over here and look at the FOMC prediction. This is the tool we use almost daily here. We're sitting right now. I don't know if you can share my screen. Is it not working again? Did it disconnect? Our new system does not like this. Give me just a second. We're going to share. Boom. And then you should be good now. You got it? Think we're good? All right, boom. There we go. Sweet.
There we go.
I don't know why. This new setup I have, I'm using 2 different computers. So I'm going to fix this. Hopefully tomorrow I'll have this new thing fixed. But, doing the show on the fly this morning. Here we go. 85% saying we're going to have 25 basis points. I'm just going to go ahead and say, even though it's saying 85% down from, I think we touched up at like 96% yesterday or the day before.
Yeah, it was pretty high.
We're just going to go ahead and say, everybody, just so you guys know, this is about a lock. Jerome Powell at 2 o'clock today, Eastern Standard Time the announcement that's going to be presented is going to be 25 basis point rate hike. We're going to have the interest rate hike above 5 to 5.25. Guess what? That's happened. We need to just go ahead and address that and say, hey, that's the expectation. Here's the good news. The price is working ahead of time. That's baking that in. This is just going to happen. It's actually, if you think about it, a very bullish thing. Let's take a look real quick at the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index this morning, up at 64, despite the fact that the rally we had yesterday was really not that impressive. Speaking of, let's do some quick TA on Bitcoin before we bring in Seth here in just a couple of minutes. You guys are going to see yesterday, when we talked about this, we were down at 55 on the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, even though the price, it had a significant drop. It went from 30,000 all the way down here to 27,000. Let's see, we bottomed out about 27,600, right? But then we shot back up on the Bitcoin Fear Index, despite the fact that we only topped out. The highest we got here was 28,900. So not that much of a move. You guys can see here on the hourly chart what I'm looking at. We kind of rejected right here at our hour-long dynamic reactor. We also rejected at the 4-hour dynamic reactor. Let me give it a second just to load this up. Boom, right there. You guys can see we have 2 different dynamic reactors giving us some strong resistance. Here's what we are looking at this morning, though. As Piper said, we're going to see a lot of volatility today, guys. It always happens. I mentioned this yesterday. I think a good sign is the fact that leading into FOMC day, we did have a little bit of a dip. We're down from our yearly high we had here just a couple of weeks ago, just a week ago or so. I guess at this point now it's 2 weeks ago, back on April 14th. However, The fact that we're dipping into this, that kind of gives me a little bit of a feeling, guys, that we're actually going to see a positive reaction after FOMC, but do not be surprised to see a lot of volatility. What I'm kind of watching for right now, I told you guys yesterday, I'm watching the price move within this rising level of support and this flat level of resistance. This is what we call ascending triangles. Traditionally, they end up being bullish, and if we end up breaking bullish, this could see Bitcoin's price shoot up to 33,000. Now, it's a little premature. Let's discuss what could happen over the next day, though. So yesterday, we did actually break down below our level of support, but on the 4-hour chart, you guys can see we really didn't close. We barely closed a candle below the line, but we shot back up the very next 4-hour candle to get back above it. So watch this right now. This price level currently about 28,141, 28,100. We potentially could even dip down here, maybe match some of the lows we had the other day, yesterday, down here at 27,900. But I'm not necessarily thinking we're going to get too much lower than that. Let's pull up a couple things even to look at that. Let's look at Fibonacci on a more shorter time frame thing right here. By the way, also, you guys can see the hourly chart. Let's go on to the hourly chart, actually, on my oscillators here, our chart prime oscillators, phenomenal oscillators. You guys can see we're trading sideways, and the reason why is because we've respected pretty much almost every single signal since this one right here. This overbought signal right here matched up perfectly with an evening star, and since that, every bullish call has been a bottom, every bearish call has been a top. We are trending sideways because the market has not decided, do we want to be bullish for this FOMC meeting? Do we want to be bearish? The market's not really telling us. But some things we're going to look at here. Let me go ahead and pull down my oscillators. Keep your eye right here on that level. Another reason is this is the golden pocket. If you were to start off on this dip we had just a couple of, just about a week ago here on the 24th, go all the way up here to the top. We're going to see that we're coming down, have the golden pocket sitting right here at our rising level of support. Keep your eyes fixed on that. If that does not hold, though, let me go and take this down, and I will pull up our support and resistance levels, our multi-time frame ones. This one here on the hourly chart, we did reject on our number 2. We could see a come back down here towards 27,100. We, of course, had the yellow box, the top of that being about 27.7. If we cannot hold this level of support, if we cannot hold 28,100, watch for a price again between 27.7 like we did the other day, maybe even come all the way down here towards this strong level of support here at 27,166. So that's what we're kind of looking at right here. I'm not going to keep going any further. That's the TA for today, because guess what? It's all going to be about the volatility that happens this afternoon when Jerome Powell takes the stage. I'm interested to hear how he responds to questions, not only just about this interest rate and is this the last one, because that's what FOMC is predicting right now. Let me show that real quickly. The FOMC prediction tool is saying this May 25 base point, it's the last one. In June, we're going to pause. 79% saying we're staying right there. July will stay paused. It's a little bit decided. They're kind of leaning towards potentially July. We might see a pivot coming, but for right now, 54% saying we're going to pause. September is the first time we're predicting that we're actually going to have that official pivot. We're going to have some rate cuts. Only 46%, but that's the highest prediction at this point. So I'm really interested to hear how Jerome Powell talks about what the next step for the Fed is going to be. Are we officially done with hikes? Also, what is his plan for responding to this continued banking crisis? Even though those of us in the crypto world are sitting here watching these banks crumble and knowing the value is going to transfer over into Bitcoin and crypto, that is not what necessarily Jerome Powell and the Fed want to see happen. That wasn't their goal. They do not want to see banks crash. They're probably going to have to print money to help them out. So what does that mean about the future value of the dollar? We will talk a lot about that tomorrow. I won't be able to join, but Piper and T-Shirt will be live for the FOMC meeting today at about 2 o'clock. So make sure you come back, get to not only hear the results with them, but you guys will get to watch that press conference, and Piper and T-Shirt will break down their analysis of what this means for Bitcoin's future. That being said, it's time to transition now, and I'm going to bring on Seth, an amazing investor. Again, first of all, go ahead and bring Seth on. Seth, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Dude, I'm so excited to have you on here. I want to start off, first of all, Seth, let's hear a little bit about who you are. So where are you from? How old are you? And what got you into crypto investing?
Well, I am from the UK and from Nigeria. However, I do live in the UK until I recently moved over towards Dubai. Now, personally, I'm not going to disclose my age because I like it being a little bit of a mystery for my viewers. But nevertheless, guys, I started my journey in personal finance. I am young and I wanted to make money quick, quick, quick. So I quickly
Mm.
moved over from improving my credit score and working on personal finance and saving money towards more degen means of drop shipping, trying to start a business. And eventually I got to crypto, as most people do get to crypto. And crypto, in my opinion, guys, is where the money is made. It's been very successful with me.
Mhm.
And my goal as a crypto YouTuber and investor is to help everyone find the best micro cap gems, not meme coins. Let me make that clear.
Mhm.
Not meme coins, micro cap gems, just lower in market cap cryptocurrencies.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, let's start off with some of those though. I get. Are you between the ages though? Let's just make. I'll give you a range, and you tell me if this is a good enough
Okay.
range. Are you between the
No worries.
ages of 18 years old and 85 years old?
I'm between the age. Yeah, definitely.
18. Okay, good to know. That narrows it down for everybody, so we can get a kind of a glimpse of to how old you are. That's just want to make sure. I want to make sure people clarify. Anyway, yeah, let's talk before we get into it because I know today you're going to give us a little insight into your process for how you identify good
Yeah.
gems that you want to invest in. And of course, I want to remind everybody this is not financial advice. Cryptoseth. He's not a financial advisor. He's just a really smart 18 to 85-year-old that understands some of these gem coins and has a good process to invest in them. And again, when you see people make money the way Seth does, even if he's not a financial advisor, you might want to pull out a notepad and a pen and take some notes. So let's start off. I believe you said there's 4 coins you're looking at right now, Seth, that you're really excited about. What are those coins? And give me kind of a brief explanation as to why you're so excited about them.
Yeah, no worries. So I do have about 4 different microcap gems I do want to talk about today. I'm going to give you guys a brief introduction very quickly of what these projects aim to do and the market caps that they are sitting at. So I do believe my screen is pulled up. I'll wait for a second for it to come up because I do want to show you guys these gems. It'll be much easier for me to show you. There we go. So we got the first gem here, guys, and it's called Demetra. Now, what Demetra aim to do, guys, is provide technology to farmers around the world, no matter if you're a smallholder farm or a largeholder farm. They understand that world hunger is a problem, and one of the main reasons is due to the lack of technological development with these smallholder farms around the world. So Demetra, guys, is actually already being utilized by 18 million farmers. However, guys, this is a very low cap gem, sitting at a market cap of around $20 million. Now, we saw this gem go absolutely parabolic very recently. I'm up around 20 to 30x my money with Demetra. However, there's a lot of room for growth with this project, very active development, and very active team. Now, the next gem we have on the list, guys, is Altura. Now, what Altura aim to do, guys, is essentially transition Web 2 games into Web 3. Now, if you guys believe that crypto is the future or blockchain is the future, then we need to be able to transition the current systems we have in the Web 2 space into the Web 3 space because it's very unlikely we're going to see crypto projects dominate the gaming scene. Most likely what we're going to see is already established gaming institutions coming into crypto. Now, you may be saying, why are they going to utilize this small cap gem? Surely they'll utilize another system. Now, I thought that originally too, until Unity, yes, Unity, one of the largest games development marketplaces and studios in the world, verified Altura as a viable solution to transition Web 2 to Web 3, meaning institutions will definitely look towards Altura. On top of that, Altura has that influencer backing, which goes a really long way in crypto. And it's only sitting at a market cap of around $34 million. There's a lot of organic growth to this project, as you guys can see here on the 180-day chart. And in my opinion, it's going to keep going up. Now, the next project on the list, guys, is GraphLink Protocol or GraphLink Chain. Now, this is a very unique project. It's a no-code protocol for the blockchain. Now, they aim to make developing on the blockchain very simple. They have a drag and drop system in which you can then program on and off chain for the blockchain, which is a very interesting project. I do believe this is the only project in crypto which is like this, which is why I'm very bullish on this project. It's sitting at a low market cap of around $2.4 million. And the last project I wanted to talk about, guys, is CheckDot. Now, CheckDot is a decentralized insurance platform, but it does have some other utilities. Now, my main argument of CheckDot is how many times has there been a platform hack, validator slashing, or stablecoin depegging in crypto? The answer is all the time. It happens all the time in crypto. And you would be a little bit ignorant if you believe it's not going to keep happening in crypto. Now, the reason I'm talking about this project, guys, is because I want you guys to protect yourselves in crypto. Now, just like how you guys use health insurance and car insurance and even life insurance, you should be using crypto insurance too. For example, not too long ago, we saw USDC depeg. And even before that, guys, I remember everyone was spreading all this FUD about USDT. Don't use USDT, USDC. And then a couple of months later, we saw USDC depeg. Now, if you were using CheckDot, you guys could have been accounted for up to $23,000. Now, this is a low cap gem. So obviously these pools aren't going to be millions of dollars. However, there's a lot of time for this project to grow. What I will add to that, guys, is if you guys are small investors, you have a small amount of capital, losing your whole portfolio, if you had a lot in stable coins, $10,000, $20,000 is a big deal. So maybe you should have looked towards alternative means such as decentralized insurance, and CheckDot does it the best in my opinion. It's sitting at a low market cap of around $2.3 million. So they're the 4 projects, guys, I did want to cover. If you guys have any questions, please let me know down below and I'll answer them straight up for you guys.
Awesome. This is great stuff. Well, before we get into here, are these coins that like you have a group, your whole group is deciding on? Are these ones that you, Seth, you just come in, you've done your research, you're like, hey man, these are the ones I really love?
Yeah. So I have a group, I have a Patreon group, and these are the gems
Nice.
which I seriously advise people, obviously not financial advice, to have in their portfolio, because I understand that these projects have long-term potential in crypto. I look for utility-based gems. And the reason I do that, guys, is because regardless if these projects solve a real problem, they're going to perform well. Now, maybe it's not the next bull run, maybe it's bull run after that, but because of the utility, it eventually will perform well in my perspective.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, what has been your success rate with some of these small cap altcoins? Of course, nobody hits 100%, but that's the confusion on investing. Some people think that if you make one bad call, then all of a sudden your system and your process is broken, which is not the case at all. What is your like kind of batting percentage going on with your investing picks?
Yeah, well, first of all, I do a lot of research into these projects, hours upon hours into each project. So I don't just, invest into a project for the sake of investing into the project. Now, my success rate, I don't want to sound a little bit cocky, but it's very, very high. It's rare that I lose money on a project. I have lost money on a project, and I'm going to be honest here. I'll tell you guys the project I lost money on. It's called AIM Medis. Now, this is a medical cryptocurrency and did a lot of dodgy stuff. I was backing it initially. Then, I had to pull out the project. Now, my success rate is pretty big. I got into Viot when it was sitting at around 950K in market cap. You can go to my channel and check it out. I was making videos on it. And I was up around 40x my money with Viot. Another project is actually one of the projects I talked about today, which is Demetra. I'm up around 40x of Demetra. I got up around 18x of a couple other projects here and there. On a lot of these other smaller caps, which are sitting at around $3, $4, $5 million in market cap, I'm up around, 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7x on those ones too. But my biggest project would be probably Viot with that, 40x. In terms of now in the bear market. In the last bull run, I made quite a lot.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, let's dive into this process though. Like, so you told us, you gave us a little bit of insight. What does your process look like getting in and identifying these coins? I know obviously the fundamental research is gonna be part of it, but also even I know we were talking about before the show, you do some technical analysis too. So like, what are you using for your fundamental analysis to kind of identify them? What are you using from a technical analysis standpoint to say, hey, this is my point to get in, this is my point to get out? Tell us about your process.
Yeah, no worries. So let me pull up my screen again so I can show everyone. I'm going to give you guys a brief rundown of everything you guys need to do once you do find a cryptocurrency, because I do reviews on my channel. People tell me, have a look at this, have a look at that. But this is what you guys should be doing when you do address or look into a cryptocurrency before investing. Now, the first thing I like to do, guys, is have a look at the tokenomics. Tokenomics is so important in crypto, guys. I can't stress this enough. Now, the first part of tokenomics that I do look at is the circulating supply. Now, a lot of people overlook the circulating supply. But why this is very important is due to the inflation rate it could have. For example, if it has less than 1% in circulation, that means when all the tokens are released, it's going to be worth 99% less if you did buy now. So tokenomics is very important. And on top of that, guys, you have a level of trust with these developers. If the tokenomics are really bad or the circulating supply is really low, they could, if they wanted to, dump 99% of the tokens into the market, and all the money you have invested would essentially be worth nothing. So this is why Circulating supply is very important. Now, the second part of tokenomics, which is very important, is the holders. It's something very, very simple that everyone should have a look at. Now, how you do that, guys, is if you go on CoinGecko and CoinMarkup, go to the explorers, press on BSC scan or Etherscan or whatever scan it is, then go into the holders and have a quick look. Now, the reason this is very important, guys, is because sometimes you see a wallet holding a very, very high percentage of the tokens, sometimes even 50, 60, 70%. Now, if that is the case, imagine this. The bull market comes, the project goes up in value. If they hold 70%, they're not going to hold, they're going to sell it, and they're essentially going to dump the project, which is not what we want to have. So you can see here, this is not a smart contract. Clearly, it's a regular wallet. You can double check by clicking on the wallet and having a look into the holders and having a look at what they actually hold in the wallet to have a more clearer outlook of the specific wallet, which is something you should do because sometimes, guys, it can actually be the team who have decided to not make it a smart contract, which I find dodgy in itself. But you can see here, they hold other cryptocurrencies. So clearly this is a crypto wallet. Now, the next thing I'd have a look at, guys, is, well, firstly, I do want to say, if it doesn't meet those two requirements, I'm not investing into the token. They're very, very important. I'm looking for around, depending on the size of market cap, let's say it's a very low cap gem, I'm going to be looking towards 30% or above in terms of circulating supply. But if this is a higher cap gem, I would be looking towards 50% or above in terms of circulating supply. Now, the next thing I would have a look at, guys, is the markets. Now, the markets is very important because at the end of the day, we need as many people to invest into a project for it to go up. Now, you can see here, guys, this project called SpinTop is only listed on PancakeSwap. Now, people don't like to use PancakeSwap due to the high price impact. You know, you're going to not get as much for your money as you can. So people tend to stay away from PancakeSwap. So if a project is only listed on PancakeSwap, I see this as a red flag. Now, some people actually see this as a green flag because if it's only on PancakeSwap, you can get in at such a low market cap. So when it does get listed on a centralized exchange, you can then make a lot of money on the short term, maybe 2-3x when it does get listed on KuCoin, Mexi, Gate.io. However, I tend to see it as a negative point because it's not guaranteed that they're going to get listed on a centralized exchange. Now, the second thing I like to do, or the third thing I like to do, before I even look at the project, guys, this is all before I even look at the project, I like to have a look at the charts. Now, the reason I like to look at the charts is because sometimes you see a project like this. Now, what happened here with this project is they launched 2018. On launch, they went absolutely parabolic. However, they haven't really performed since. You can see here in 2021, when we saw the bull run happen, this project didn't really rally again, not to a large degree. So I personally would stay away if this is the charts for a certain project. Now, after all of this is done, and this is just on the front end, after all of this is done, before I get into the project, I like to do one final thing. And that one final thing I like to do, guys, is just run it through a token sniffer. So you can go into tokensniffer.com, copy the contract address, put it into Token Sniffer. And what Token Sniffer does, it gives you like a little brief outline about the token. Now, a couple of things I like to look out for, guys, is on the contract analysis. Now, if you see here, guys, the ownership, renounce, or source does not contain an owner contract. Now, this is not ticked. Now, the reason this is very important is because they could stop selling on this token. They can increase the fees on this token. They can essentially manipulate the smart contract, which is a huge red flag. I don't feel comfortable investing in a token in which they can just stop selling when they like. Now, another thing I'd like to look out for, guys, is the holder analysis. Now, this is very important because if you guys don't want to go into the holders and do all this, run it through Token Sniffer. It will tell you if the owner wallet contains less than 5%, if the creator wallet contains less than 5%, and if all the holders contain less than 5%. You can see here, all the holders don't contain less than 5%. We saw it here with that one holder that was holding around, what was it, like 27% of the supply, which is a major red flag for the project. Now, after all of that is done, now I know it seems very long-winded, but you guys will get better at it and it becomes much, much quicker. Then I like to go into the project. Now, this is where it gets interesting because just because it passes all those requirements doesn't mean it's a great project. Now, what I like to do at this point, guys, is what is the project? Now, in this case, it's a gaming project. So the first thing I'll be thinking in my mind is gaming is very saturated. There is so many gaming projects out there. So then I'll ask myself, what is the unique selling point of this specific project? Why would someone invest into this project in comparison to all the thousands of gaming projects in the crypto space? Now, once you find that answer, then you can proceed. If you can't find that answer, then I would probably be looking elsewhere in terms of investment. Now, one thing I like to look for, guys, on the website is the team. Is the team doxed? Now, this isn't that important, but it is important because if they're hiding themselves, it probably is because they know the project isn't that good or isn't going to perform well, or maybe it's a rug pull, maybe it's a scam. So I do look for the team being doxxed. Now, the next thing I do look for is the partnerships. I like a project which has some good partnerships. For example, Altura has Unity. Demetra, they have a lot of other partnerships too, Morpheus Network, and a couple other partnerships. I do look for partnerships because it adds that level of trust. If other projects are backing it, then maybe I should look to back this project as well. Now, when all that is said and done, then I potentially would look to invest into the project. However, a couple of things I would do is go into the Telegram, on the Twitter, see if they're active.
Mhm.
Sometimes what you find is they haven't even posted in like a year. For example, this project right here, it seems great, very low market cap, seems amazing, but they haven't even posted on their Twitter, for around 2 years or so, which is a major red flag for me. So, that's what I do look for in terms of looking into a project. So that is basically everything I do
That's
in
pretty
terms of
crazy,
the
man.
basics.
Yeah, dude. I saw. There's some people in chat. Just saying, teacher. There's a couple people in chat who don't necessarily like everything. I want to ask you, Seth. Does your livelihood depend upon people liking you, or are you able to just make your money because you pick coins, you stick to your guts, and you just know what to do with the trades?
Yeah, precisely. I don't want to be controversial here, but I don't really care what my audience thinks of me. My goal of my channel, I actually started my channel, guys, because I saw so many crypto YouTubers. I'm not going to say any names,
Yeah.
but they were just shilling projects with less than 1% in circulation, bad tokenomics. These projects are essentially pump and dumps and rug pulls. So I started my channel to review these cryptocurrencies to tell people, look, I don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to analyze the token and tell you if it does have a good chance of performing well in the next bull run. Look for real world utility, do all the basic gem hunting requirements, and then I follow my analysis on the token. So that's my answer to the question.
Yeah, I think it's always good to remind audience and everybody, listen, like if you guys don't like anything that I say or Seth says or T-Shroom says or Piper says, that's great. I am all about diverse opinions and people doing whatever they want. We are here just to give you guys information on how we're doing things. If you guys like it, that's awesome. We still urge you guys, and that's one of the things I love that Seth just laid out, is he didn't just come here and say, hey guys, I like these coins. He also said, hey, you know what? You want to double check my work? You want to do this for yourself? This is how you do it. This is the exact type of educational content that we need so that every single person can be their own investor. That's all we say, non-financial advice. That's all we say. Hey, don't just blindly copy everything we do. We're not here so that you guys just piggyback on our ideas and get rich. We're here to help you guys learn how to do all this stuff for yourself. So that's what I love about everything Seth's had so far. T-Shroom, I know you might have had a question or a statement there. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think Elliot Locke asked the right question with his super chat. He said, "Hey Seth, what percentage of the overall portfolio would be best to have for these micro caps, not financial advice?" So, Seth, I'd like you to answer that question, but my immediate answer to that is it's 100% dependent on your age. So, Cryptoseth, he's a young guy, right? And so he's able to
18
take
to
on more
85.
risk, 18 to 85 range, right?
I'll
Yeah,
tell you guys,
and so
I'm under 25.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, we'll narrow it down a little more. Are you older or younger than Joe Biden?
Oof, that's a hard one. I can't disclose that.
Yeah.
Can't disclose that one.
Okay. All right. Well, I tried, guys. I tried to dox his age a little bit. Didn't work out. So,
Yeah. So just to be clear, the older you are, right, the less money you should be investing in what is considered gems, right? With any kind of project, stocks or crypto projects with a sub-billion market cap, right? Sub-billion means that a company has not reached flight yet, right? They have not reached the mass market adoption that they need to have multiple millions of dollars in monthly revenue. So, that's what I would say is the smaller the cap, the younger the guy, right? That should be investing. The younger the bro, excuse me. So Seth, maybe you have a little bit of a different answer for that as well.
Yeah, so my answer to that is it all depends on the capital you have to invest. Now, if you have, millions of dollars to invest, then obviously your portfolio should not be 60% microcap gems. Now, if you have only a couple $1,000s to invest into crypto, you probably want to take that risk in order to make a 50, 100, maybe even 300x your money. So most likely, if your goal is to become financially free from one bull run, whether you like it or not, most likely you are going to have to invest into mid caps and low cap gems. Now, you could make a couple good returns, potentially even 20x with some high caps. However, if you want to make that 100x, 200x, you're going to have to go towards a low cap gem. So what I'll say is it all depends on your capital. Now, when you do get older, that risk to reward, you do have to think about it a little bit more. Like, most likely, you're not going to be as risky as you get older. But at the end of the day, if you are older and you're dealing with lower capital, you've lived for a very long time, you most likely want to just take that risk in order to make a lot of money this one last time. So you're probably still going to go into those microcap gems.
Well, Seth, I will point out that
But,
at one point on Gem Hunters, you said that I was like 80 years old, and I will tell you, I'm very risk adverse. So I will I have thrown some money into some small caps. So I just want to point that out. You said if you're older, you don't take as many risks. I do at 80 years old, as you said, Seth. So
Yeah.
And I want to jump
But
in because
yeah,
there was
you know,
another.
Piper,
There-
you're still
there was
between
another-
18 and 85.
I am between 18 and 85.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
This is
Seth
why
and
you
I,
Same age
Seth
as
and I are the same age. Yes.
Yeah.
There was another really good question from Look at the Runes. The question was like, why is now a good time to buy gems? Is it a good time? Because they were saying this is a terrible time because the market's
Very good
down and all that.
question.
But why is now the time to be looking into gems?
That's a very good question. I do get that question a lot. Now, I'm going to answer this, and it may not be the answer you want to hear, guys. And yes, altcoins are tied to Bitcoin's performance, but microcap gems can do what microcap gems want to do. So when we see Bitcoin down, you can still see these microcap gems 3xing, 4xing, 5xing, 10xing. Now, your question probably is, will they retrace back to those new lows? Most likely not. They're not going to retrace back to those lows. So what I will say, guys, is if you are going to invest into microcap gems, there is no better time than right now. What I will say is I don't blindly invest into cryptos. I do a bit of TA on it. Thanks to Army Piper for bringing me back into the TA space. A couple basic things I should look for in terms of never buy cryptocurrency if the RSI is, at 100 or so. That's a ridiculous thing to do. But what I will say there, guys, is once a gem does a 2x, the potential it does have further down the line is halved. For example, let's say I want Demetra to go up to $1 billion in market cap. Now, that's very high market cap. This is just an example. Now, if it was sitting at $1 million when I invested into it, and then it does a 2x, now it's 2 million. So that initial 1,000x is now 500x. And that will keep happening even though it's only 2xing, even though it's gone from 1 to 2 to 4 to 8. The gains is half and half and half and half, and you're going to be left with a 30x. And if you're left with a 30x, you may as well go for a high cap gem, because I'm not going to take the risk on a micro cap gem for a 20x when I can invest into a high cap gem, which could potentially 20x, maybe Algorand, maybe Quant. So it's not worth the risk. This is why it's very important to get in early to these micro cap gems to solidify the maximum amount of gains you can make.
Well, hey guys, real quick, I'm gonna interrupt. You guys continue on because this is amazing. I do have to run, as I told you guys. The rest of this week, I gotta dip out a little early. But go ahead, everybody, smash that like button if you have loved having Cryptoseth on here. Put a +1 in chat if you guys want to see him on a lot more frequently. Him and Crypto Archie coming in with these absolute amazing DGen gem calls. If you guys love that and you love the Investing Bros, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and make sure you guys are engaging with us daily. I love you guys. I'll see the rest of you tomorrow. I'm leaving the show in very capable hands. You guys go ahead and take it away.
Heck yeah. Well, we do have a super chat that we could get into that we don't want to leave behind. Perhaps before we take another plunge down into the world of gems. Elliot Locke donated $10, and he said, with the issues in the South China Sea heating up, what most likely will happen to crypto and commodities if China tries to pimp slap Taiwan, quote unquote? It's a technical term. It's the military terminology. I ask because of how invested the West is in China. So it's not a bad question. We had to wait because it would have been too hard to pivot to that question. But I mean, my answer initially would be it would send the stock market quite a bit lower. There would be a lot of fear and uncertainty if China were to pimp slap, which maybe invade, occupy may even launch a missile on Taiwan. If there was something like that happened, I think that the markets around the world would sell off. You could probably expect around a 5% sell off in real time to markets that are open, and futures markets would probably sell off. So that's my answer. Now, there's definitely winners in those moments. The question, how would Bitcoin perform? How would gold perform? Those are kind of interesting questions. Piper, I want to get your take on this, and Seth, feel free to weigh in, but I know this isn't your field of expertise necessarily. I don't know that it is or isn't. But it's a super chat, so we wanted to give it some good thought here.
Yeah, so my answer to questions like this, and a lot of questions proposed like this, all comes down to what should I be doing? What should I do right now? A lot of fear in the market. What should I do? Should I invest? Should I not invest? Should I take my money out? Should I put my money in? Now, my advice always is to DCA. A lot of people don't like this, but that is my answer. Dollar cost average, always. Because if you believe, this is what I say. Do you believe the bull market's going to happen still? Most likely, yes, you believe it's still going to happen. And if you do, if you invest now, whatever you put in now will go into profits when the bull run does come. Now, a lot of people don't have time. They don't have time to be taking the whole portfolio out or taking this out and then putting this in and doing all these different things. And if that is the case, if that is your personal situation where you don't have time, you have a full-time job, you have kids to look out for, then I would say just a DCA.
Yeah. Okay. That's a great answer. It's actually, the right answer in a lot of ways. Piper, maybe you could shed a little light into what is the likelihood of China invading Taiwan, and what would be some of the second and third order outcomes of that type of a thing, and what would happen to the markets.
So I think the markets would be severely hurt, and I absolutely think that the United States would start putting on sanctions onto China, and then of course China's GDP probably gonna take a hit, considering that we are their number one importer of their goods. So um,
Mhm.
I. I still think that it's a lot of chest pounding, and I think that if we were not such a big consumer of Chinese goods in the United States, they would have been in Taiwan a long time ago. But at the end of the day, economies or nations are based on security of a nation, and national security is specifically based on the strength of the economy. I don't see how China would, thinks that they would be able to do any of those things and get away with it. So,
Yeah. Yep, I agree. I think it's becoming more likely, but I think it's still very unlikely. And I disagree. I don't think that we should use sanctions anymore against China, against a new country that we don't have sanctions on already. I think that one of the biggest eroders of the strength of the dollar is the weaponization of the dollar, and the ability to crowd people out, to ban them from the SWIFT system. So I think using sanctions on China would be a mistake, but I see where you're coming from with that.
yep,
So what we could do here, I'm going to propose that we go ahead and take a journey down into the stories, and then
yep.
and I'll just cover those very quickly. Yeah. So our market is. So we'll go over to my screen. So our markets are open here. Surprisingly, the SPY, the Nasdaq are green. The Dow Jones is slightly red. That's going to be the extent of our market open. Energy's lower this morning as well. So let's get into the stories really quickly. Yesterday, Pac West falls more than 20% as regional bank stocks slide to new lows. This is a very big developing story. Another big regional bank in the headlines, and then here's what to expect from today's Federal Reserve announcement. We will get into this much more in the live stream later today. Piper, what time is that live stream going to go up?
That live stream is going to go up at 1:50 Eastern Standard Time. We will be in
1:50.
there just before the news drops, the data drops on it, and then as soon as it drops, we'll be in there live. We'll be covering it for that half hour, watching the volatility in a very fun manner, and then we'll listen to Jerome Powell's speech. Be playing his speech live. So,
And this one is this print is all about this decision is all about the speech, because it's a near certainty that it's going to be a 25 basis point hike. So watching the speech is going to be very, very important. Okay. The Ukraine war live updates. Russia claims Ukraine attempted an attack on the Kremlin with drones. So Putin was not injured. And then U.S. representatives introduced bipartisan bill to ban Congress members from trading and owning stocks. So that is going to be our stories, just whipping right through, not getting into the details. There are some very juicy articles that I just covered, but we will not dive too much into that. So, Seth, let's pick back up with the gems. So, you said that now is a good time to buy because we're kind of the upswing coming out of a bear market, still in a bear market officially, but now's not a bad time to buy gems. You've even mentioned a couple of names of some gems that you're feeling pretty confident about. I guess what maybe would be good to just kind of drop back and say, how did you get into crypto in general? What is your background, and kind of how do you see crypto evolving from here? What are the major industries that are going to adopt crypto into their industry?
Yeah, it's a loaded question, but it's a very great question. So I'll start off with how I got into crypto. Now, I got into crypto because I'm young and I was looking for the fastest way to make money. And as you do, you go towards loads of different things. First, you go towards stocks because apparently everyone just goes towards stocks. You go towards stocks, you try and invest into stocks, and you realize that you don't want to make 5% a year with the S&P 500. It takes 20 years to 2x your money with the S&P 500. So you move towards other means. And I moved towards creating businesses, drop shipping and things like that, which you will do. So I thought to myself, this is not going to work. Drop shipping's too saturated. So then I moved over towards crypto. Now, when I first got into crypto, I thought it was a scam, as everyone thinks it's a scam at some point. And then I looked more into crypto and I noticed the blockchain actually has a lot of utility. Now, decentralization is important. However, I don't think decentralization will be the driving factor of the adoption of crypto. I do believe it's the other factors and the other benefits that crypto does bring, such as borderlessness and security. And a lot of different industries can benefit from the blockchain. Now, the gaming industry benefits heavily off of the blockchain because gamers see a use case in adopting the Web3 solution compared to the current Web2 space. If you want people to adopt the blockchain, people aren't going to adopt it for it merely being decentralized. We all use Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and we know they spy on us. We know they take our data, yet we still use it. Decentralization enough is not a driving factor for us to adopt the blockchain. We need other things. Now, in gaming, those other things is digital ownership and the token system, because the token system will essentially allow for gambling within games. And people will love this. Imagine you and me, T-Shroom, we can play April Pool and the winner gets, $200. We both put $100. People will love that in gaming. So I do believe the gaming industry will eventually adopt the blockchain completely and utterly. Now, again, touching upon what I said before, I don't think that people are going to be building these blockchain games and they're going to be able to compete with large gaming institutions worth billions of dollars. Eventually, these institutions will just come over into crypto. Now, other industries I think that will benefit from the blockchain, let's have a look. Decentralized storage. I think decentralized storage is a very bullish narrative in crypto. Storage should just be on the blockchain. Decentralization. Now, this is where I think decentralization actually has a lot of use case. Our data is a very valuable asset. And we don't want big tech spying on our data much longer. Now, having on the blockchain means it's decentralized. Centralized systems can't access our data. It's the most secure place to store data as well. It's borderless and it's very cheap. Now, the very cheap aspect is probably what will make people want to move over to the blockchain. We have to think of it in a retail mindset, in a consumer mindset. Now, the cheapness is what will make people want to adopt the blockchain in terms of decentralized storage. So I do think storage will perform very well. Now, another thing, actually, I'm going to drop a project here that I think will perform very well. And I think you guys should have a look into this. It's called Genomes DAO. Now, Genomes DAO is essentially a decentralized ancestry DNA or 23andMe. Now, one of the main reasons I think this project is going to perform quite well, guys, is because of all the problems within the DNA testing platform industry. We have platform hacks all the time. They sell billions and billions of worth of our DNA already in the last 10 years, I do believe. And clearly it's not stopping. It's not like, we sell your DNA. They're clearly doing it on purpose and it's not going to stop. So I do believe that people will actually want to utilize Genomes DAO because you can now monetize your own DNA. Before, they would sell your data for a profit or your DNA for a profit. Now, you can monetize your own DNA. And Genomes DAO is the only DNA testing platform that exists in the whole crypto space, which has that idea of uniqueness and is why I believe it's going to perform quite well. Genomes DAO, the ticket is GENE. I recommend you guys check it out. You can just buy the DNA testing kit and utilize it. You don't even need to invest into the project if you guys don't want to.
Super cool. Yeah. Well, Piper, is there anything jumping to your mind? I know you're a very curious guy, especially when it comes to gems. Is there any kind of questions that you have for Seth at this point in the market cycle?
No, I work with the Gem Hunters a lot. I'm on their show mostly most of the time on Sundays. It's been a little hectic lately, but most of the time I'm on their shows. I've worked with Crypto Archie and Cryptoseth for a while now,
Hmm.
so I know how they run all of this. It's really good. It's a solid community they have over there. So we actually have quite a few of our Investing Bros members that are members in their Patreon.
Hmm.
I just hey guys, I just want people to know that people like Seth and Archie that we have on here, when they talk about these small caps, they've done due diligence into researching, is this token a risk to their community if it rug pulls? Is there one wallet that can just drain everything? Is it an oversaturated market with just, hey, look, it's another layer one, yay, like they do all of their research on this, and their community Patreon community, they're in it to win it. Like they stay there. These guys wouldn't have all of these followers and Patreon. And by the way, I will let you know that like Archie's inner circle, who works with Crypto Seth, like it's not cheap. And you can't get a spot in there because no one leaves. These guys were shilling tokens that are going to rug pull you and get you guys wrecked. They wouldn't have the communities that they have. These are long time subscribers to what these guys are putting out. So you guys can have whatever opinions you want about what these guys do, but I will tell you, I've seen it firsthand what they're producing in their community and their community's response back to it. So that's all I
Yep.
got.
Yep. Well, I have another question for you, Piper. Does TA work? Does Chart Prime work on these gems?
It absolutely does. That's why they brought me in. Crypto Brian over there is another guy that does some TA for him. Adam, he goes by Glyph within the community over there. He does a lot of TA on this stuff. And actually, Archie, um, I dropped Crypto Seth's link in the chat earlier for his YouTube, but I do want to say that Crypto Archie had me on Monday, and literally we did a video on that, how to do TA on small caps. So no, they did
Perfect.
not mention PayPay Coin before at Moon, Merrick, because they do not do anything with meme coins. They're only looking for utility that has potential for growth from industry investment and retail support. So that's all they look
Yep.
at. They don't touch meme coins. If you even say a meme coin on their show, all of the gem hunters will attack you.
He's not wrong there. He's not wrong.
Not wrong. It's
Yep.
happened to me.
No, look, guys. I'm gonna be honest here. You can invest in meme coins as long as you treat it as gambling. Look, if you want to go to the casino with your brothers, have a laugh, have a drink, then you can invest into meme coins. Treat it like that. But you should not be allocating a portion of your portfolio to a meme coin. At the end of the day, when you invest into a meme coin, what are you looking for? 50x, 100x, 200x? You can still get that with microcap gems, but it's less risky. Seems like a no-brainer to me.
Well, plus, you're rolling dice when you grab a meme coin to jump onto. So, like for example, let's say, how many meme coins are there? I bet if I go look at the final 500 on the entire cap, it's probably all just junk meme coins, right? How do you pick out that one, right? It's really hard to go, this is the one that's going to go viral, but it's really easy to take small caps that are towards the bottom of the list on the total market cap, and go, this has got the best utility among these other 500 around it, and pick that one. So yeah, it is still a gamble. That's why you don't put, 90% of your portfolio into small caps. It is a small percentage of your portfolio, but that small percentage has the potential to do as good, if not better, than the entire rest of your portfolio if you find one that's good. And that's why following gem hunters like Crypto Seth and Archie and SSM and all those guys over there, fantastic community, follow them. I mean, these guys are doing the research for you, man. So
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Of the three categories of meme coins, NFTs, and gems, right? You could say all of these have similar levels of risk. You could say I have personally invested by far the most in gems because I know that there's a method that can be proven, that can be replicated and proven. And if something fails, you can learn from that failure and you can just increase the quality of the vetting system that you're using, right? With meme coins, yes, there's a vetting system because you can go in and you can look at, how these communities are evolving, what are the kind of people behind the communities, what are their motivations. And then with NFTs, there is definitely a method to the madness as well. But I am personally, and maybe you don't share this opinion, but I am most compelled to diversify into these gems, right? I don't have any kind of like expectations as of yet. I'm just dabbling because I really like the guys over at the Gem Hunters, and I just think it's a lot of fun too to get down to into the nitty gritty and kind of explore what these different projects are doing. But the thing with meme coins, guys, is like they are art, right? When Satoshi published the white paper and launched Bitcoin, right? What it was is it was a revolution in currency, right? It made it so where anybody could make a currency at all. And so when anybody can do something, there's going to be artists that enter the space. And that's a lot of what meme coins are. They're kind of comedic art in a lot of ways, but it's art, right? Whereas the gems, these are the companies that are trying to be the next pharmaceutical industry leader, the next data analytics company, whatever storage, decentralized storage company. The gems are actually trying to be the next operator, the next producer of a good or service. Whereas the memes are just art. They're similar to NFTs, or the art NFTs. So that's kind of my rant on the three categories there that you could diversify into within crypto.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts actually? What are your thoughts on NFTs? I'd like to kind of hear that.
Yeah, before I say that, I want to say one thing on top of what you said, because I'm in utter agreement there. And one thing I would add is most cryptos start off with low cap gems. So why not try and get in early to these low cap gems before they become high cap gems? Like you just said, they're trying to be the leading in whatever industry. Now, what's my thoughts on NFTs? Now, NFTs are an integral part of crypto. They have their use case in gaming. And you know what? I always thought that the best place for NFTs to be is in kind of things like ticket sales. It seems like a great place for them to be in. You can't replicate them, you can't duplicate them, you can't forge them. But look, NFTs have utility, just the way they're being utilized right now is not the best way. Gaming,
not there yet.
All this other jargon. It's not being utilized to its full potential. However, I think NFT projects can perform quite well. For example, Altura is an NFT project. If you guys want a low cap NFT project, which is so undervalued, it's literally received grants from all the major blockchains out there, Harmony, Hedera, and several others. It's called XP Network. It's sitting at a low market cap of like $2.3 million. What it aims to do is essentially allow for the cross-chain transaction of NFTs across all the major blockchains. And the reason this is important is because if we want an NFT to be transacted across loads of different blockchains, we don't want each of these blockchains to just provide liquidity for each blockchain that it wants to be transacted on. That's going to be very tedious and long to do. So instead, they can utilize XP Network's API system and implement it into the infrastructure to then allow them to transact NFTs cross-chain. But my answer to your question in a simple way is NFTs have their use case, just the way they're being utilized is not the best.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel. I think that there's going to be several more revolutions in the NFT technology. It's already a revolution in of itself in order in the sense of how it can track movement across the internet, the movement of data across the internet. But I will say that there's clearly, to me, it seems like just kind of observing the development of technology over time, NFTs have like one or two more innovations to kind of take place, and then they're going to be like very obviously valuable to the wide majority of investors. And there's already a lot of big name investors like Mark Cuban, Gary Vee, who are all in on NFTs. But I agree with you, Cryptoseth, is that right now, kind of in the art phase, it is for some people, because there are some NFTs right now that will be art NFTs that will be in crypto for the long term. Specific ones and specific projects. It's kind of like, I tell people, it's kind of like the first Macintosh computers, right, that came out. People will just buy those because they are associated with the beginning of personal computing. It's not because they are exceptional computers. They're not. They're pieces of junk when it comes to actually performing computational tasks. But they're cool. They're sick. And people with a lot of money who are nerds and in IT, they want to buy those up. And so they have multiple $1 million values on them. The same thing for NFTs. And so there art NFTs right now. If you know something a little bit more than the market, you can actually make a ton of money in the long term. That's just not my lane, right? That's not my lane at all. I admire some of the art just from an artistic standpoint. It looks cool. But when it comes to actually deploying my capital, it's the gems that get it. So
3 things, Cheese Shrimp. 1, you're not on around the blockchain. You don't have to keep talking to get +1s. Also, also, I dropped the link in there in the chat for again for Cryptoseth, and also for the guy that was asking about how do you do TA on this. I also dropped the video that I did with Crypto Archie in the chat there. And the last thing that I want to say is, guys, when Cryptoseth and Crypto Archie were talking about AGIX Singularity token with their community, it was under a $5 million market cap. What is it sitting at today, Seth?
Hundreds of million.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the stuff that they point out to their community. They drop those gems before they go big. Everybody's talking about Singularity now. How would you have liked to have known about Singularity token when nobody knew what it was? They identified it. They found it. So
Army, I could
365
be
million.
cocky. I could be cocky. I could sit here all day. I'm not going to do it, but I could be cocky and sit here all day and talk about all the gems, which I called early. Cross network, for example, it did perform quite well last bull run. BitBoys recently covered it. No one's talking about it. I'm up huge. I could sit here all day because I'm a cocky guy, but I'm not going to.
No, I've been around you guys long enough to know that what you guys put out is, when you guys talk, you should, like T-Shroom said earlier, or if it was Tim, get out your notebook and start taking notes. That's what I've learned. So yeah, we appreciate you being on today, Seth. It was great having you, man. So
yeah, thank you for having me, by the way. And by the way, both of you guys, I'll drop you guys a link to my Patreon. You guys get free access. It'll be great to have you in there.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do that.
And I would be remiss if I did not mention this to our audience and anyone who else might be watching this before 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be on Crypto Archie channel at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's 7 p.m. in Dubai is when we go live. So all of you who are in Dubai who are watching this, that means you, Cryptoseth, tune in 7 p.m. Dubai time. But for the majority of Americans are more familiar with the Eastern Standard, 11 a.m.
Awesome.
And with that, and with that, thank you so much, Cryptoseth, for coming on. And you are watching and listening to the most generous investment community online. We'll see you in the next video.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.
Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros.